gon' tune in cause it's showtime. Go ahead and call the gang up for the one time. Rap food rhyme, got them on the line. And my life's still great, I'm doing just fine. Hands up.
So the last question of this discussion was, what are you guys' top contenders for Game of the Year?
Some people gonna hate me, Hogwarts Legacy.
That was on my list.
Yeah,
that was. Despite all of the controversy, and I get it. I'm not saying like throw it out the window. It's not a piece of the game, but like that jump was good.
And you know what, Sage, did you get to play it?
I'm not a big Magic
I know you
guy.
can.
Only Magic I like is Black Clover. That's the only time I like Magic.
That's fair.
I personally think I wanted to get it though.
I personally think like whenever they do like that crazy PlayStation 60% off sale and it's like $20, I would suggest that you get it because like even without being a Harry Potter fan, like the storyline, the elements to it is really like engaging. And I think that anybody could play Hogwarts Legacy and not know too much about it and still enjoy the game because it's not like, oh, you have to watch Harry Potter to understand what's going on. No, they explain that junk from top to bottom.
But I feel like Hogwarts Legacy, if it don't win Game of the Year, it's definitely going to be a contender. I think Final Fantasy, because folks typically like Final Fantasy, even though the last one was, it got to be up there too next to Spider-Man.
I have a question because I don't really know how to decide like who's the nominees for Game of the Year, but like what's the platform required? Are there any platform requirements to be considered Game of the Year? Because Hogwarts Legacy has yet to release on Switch. They just pushed it back again. And I don't know if that affects like how that criteria of how they put that up there.
I don't think so because
the Game Awards has had plenty of exclusives. Yeah.
Okay. Because I was just saying because
I was just gonna say was God of War.
Yeah, it was up there
neck and neck last year.
Yeah.
Because I think Elden Ring won more reward than God of War did last year. Like it beat him by one award. Yeah.
The only reason I thought about it is because when we were talking about the Q Lite, we had brought up the Switch ports and how they pull out features when it gets on the Switch. And the only thing that I could think about is like with them pushing back the Hogwarts Legacy release on Switch to November, is it possible that they may be removing some features that we got on the PS5 version on the Switch? And I could see that affecting the way that people see the gameplay.
I don't know. It depends because I know everybody keeps talking about the shortage, but how many people, like in terms of the folks who wanted a PS5, like now they're readily in stock now. There's not a shortage anymore for them and Series X, correct?
No.
So in my opinion, if you playing on an old console, that's on you at this point. like it's available now.
I feel you. That was like the only thing. That's the only thing that I thought of because if we're going straight off like PS5 and Xbox, then everybody pretty much had the same experience. But then if that junk drops on the Switch and you can't do the same things on the Switch that you did on the PS5 and the Xbox, then you're looking at the game from two different gameplay experiences.
I don't know their criteria, but I think they'll go off the best version of it.
Okay.
And say like when it worked, what worked, you know?
Okay. Well, that one was definitely on my list. I threw Legend of Zelda in there just because of the hype that got behind it. And then the art, the graphics, those were the only two. I kind of threw Spider-Man 2 in there, but the fact that we haven't touched it yet, I don't know.
I mean, I'm not even gonna fault you because I got a game on there that haven't even came out either. So,
what you got on there?
Mortal Kombat 1.
So I wanted to put Mortal Kombat 1 on my list, but the only thing about it is that with it being a fighting game, we already know like what's the mechanics of this game is going to look like. For me to consider Mortal Kombat a Game of the Year contender, something has to be over the top on Mortal Kombat. I mean, they have to go up there and pull the biggest piece of shit out their ass for me to be like, oh, this is a Game of the Year contender. That was a bad analogy.
Did you just describe a fatality? Like the way you did that,
much.
like, was that like your fatality or something?
It could be.
Your ass.
It could be, but that's all I'm saying. Like, Mortal Kombat, this is Mortal Kombat 11 as far as expectation. Mortal Kombat 1 has to, it has to touch the sky, touch the stars, go past the Milky Way for me to be like, this is a game. I'm for real, because when you look at fighting games, it's standard. The expectations, the mechanics, the way that they work is standard across the board. So really, I don't know what they could do. I know they could do some stuff, but I don't know what they could do to really be like, boom, Game of the Year.
You're right. Yeah. Well, the same reasons that you said, Fupa, the same reasons why I'm still skeptical. Because in previous history, Mortal Kombat has always had amazing trailers. Always had amazing shows.
They had 21 Savage
but
in the last
the
gameplay. Game.
The gameplay is what does not match all the time.
But so, you can always expect. You can also, but you can the gameplay, they might do slight differences. Like we talked about the difference between Mortal Kombat 10 and Mortal Kombat 11. There will be slight differences, but the mechanics, they pretty much work the same. Like if going from Mortal Kombat 10 to Mortal Kombat 11, you don't have to sit there and learn a completely new game. Like some of that stuff is standard with like 2+ features.
You're right.
I have a question.
So,
what was the last fighting game, if there ever was one, that won like a Game of the Year type thing?
And that I don't know.
That's what I was going to say. Usually Game of the Year goes to like RPG action adventure games almost every time.
And that's the trend that I was seeing. That's why I was saying, like, for anybody to consider Mortal Kombat Game of the Year, they have to pull some shit out of their ass. They have to.
Yeah. Unless it's like Mortal Kombat open world, I don't know how they're going to do anything breathtaking. You know what I mean?
That would be
crazy. Breathtaking for us as fans, but wider audience.
I just don't know what they could do to be like, boom, Game of the Year. Because it's going to be pretty standard. Story mode, local, online, the crypt. We know that offhand. It's going to be a couple new features that they're going to tie in there. The story, I don't know what I'm excited to see what they do with the story, given the fact that we're starting from scratch. But I just don't know if it's going to be like, oh shit, Game of the Year. I don't know.
I feel that. Well, I'm very skeptical on
I'm
fighting
still keeping
games.
on my list.
I respect it. I love Mortal Kombat. That's my favorite fighting series, so I respect it.
Did you answer the question though, Sage? What's your Game of the Year contender?
I haven't played no new game that came out this year. But if I'm going based off of kind of how last year went, and kind of how this year is going, I honestly think it's going to be between Jedi, not Fallen Order, the newest one.
I forgot about that. Survival.
Jedi.
Jedi
Survivor.
And Survivor and Tears of the Kingdom, the Legend of Zelda. I think it's going to really just be between those two because of how long.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah, because of how long it's actually been out. People have had the whole summer to play it and the whole new school year to play it. While compared to like a game like when God of War came out last year and Elden Ring came out, I was like, I want God of War to win because I'm a God of War fanboy. But I think it should go to Elden Ring because Elden Ring held this whole year down. Like Jedi Survivor and Tears of the Kingdom, they holding this whole year down. Like you have to have like 100-something hours to complete like everything in Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about Jedi Survivor, but that's definitely a good point.
It do look good. I've watched a couple of gameplay videos. It looks good. I'm just not the biggest Star Wars fan.
Yeah. But if we go off Sage's thing about the amount of time that everybody has to experience this game, it's gonna be Hogwarts Legacy, Zelda, and Jedi Survivor. It's gonna be it's gonna be those three if we're looking at the amount of time that everybody has had to experience the gameplay. Because Spider-Man drops in the fall, so that's not really enough. Yeah. Mortal Kombat's dropping in September. Still, that's not really enough. And then with it being Mortal Kombat and the story modes not being that long anyway, it's kind of gonna be like that 2 weeks of, oh, look at this stuff that you can do in Mortal Kombat, and then that's gonna be it. Everybody's gonna be doing online fights and just doing local play between their friends. So that's why I was kind of going back to, like, they have to do something, like, really, they're gonna have to do something outrageous for us to keep being like, oh, Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 1.
Yeah, I agree with you. Because fighting games don't usually have that many features, like you were saying. Which, I think the Street Fighter, I hate to say it, but I really think Street Fighter will get Game of the Year because of that whole, you create your character, you can run around the world. I think that's giving it a huge edge over Mortal Kombat. I like Mortal Kombat because of the viciousness, but the actual new, I guess, not reinvigoration, but just to add to that gameplay element of like giving an NBA 2K playground effect where you can just run around, fight people with your creative character. I'm just like, dang, y'all just got a huge edge over Mortal Kombat with that one feature out there.
Yeah. I'm surprised that Mortal Kombat hasn't done that yet. You would think that after they implemented the variations of the different characters, what's the next step above getting variations of multiple characters?
Your own.
Original character.
They did it in Armageddon. The game right before the PS3 one. Okay. Right before the one on PS3. So it's like they've done that, and I think that one was kind of received horribly. So they probably like, okay, let's steer away from that right now. Just
they was competing against Soul Calibur's character creation back then too, because Soul Calibur always went hard with their character creation.
Yeah,
I agree.
Folks was making Crash Bandicoot. You remember we made Crash Bandicoot?
They make everything.
Yeah. So, well, I think it's those three: Hogwarts Legacy, Legend of Zelda, and Jedi Survivor. I think it's gonna be between those three.
Yeah.
I agree. I just hope that the companies that do the Game of the Year stuff, I hope they don't put in the backlash that they might get in to disqualify Hogwarts Legacy, because they're like, do we really want that smoke with those like that group of people that's gonna come after us and kind of like just bomb us on this selection right here? It's like, do we really want that smoke?
I say risk it. Be controversial.
I respect it. I respect
Go against the grain.
I like it.
I can see them. I could definitely see them playing it safe and not giving them Game of the Year or giving them awards on different categories, because you do have to recognize the game and what it did. But I could see them being like, hey, you guys got these other awards, but we're going to give Game of the Year to somebody else to, not even take that smoke.
They could do like Crunchyroll and make it an audience vote and see how that goes.
Audience vote will be all over the place.
It would.
That's gonna be crazy.
That would make it fair if they wanted to. We really want to put Hogwarts Legacy in the contenders, but we don't want to be the ones to make that decision.
Yeah, if they be like, this year, Game of the Year is not determined by us. 50% of the score is determined by the audience.
Yeah, if they could, if they wanted to, if they really wanted it to be up there. Because I think, despite the controversy, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to. Like, it's the game, when they dropped it, we was running. The amount of copies that it sold, the fact
Twitch
that
streams were going crazy.
That's why I was just about to say it became one of, if not one, it was up there with the top games that were being streamed in that moment.
It was the top game being streamed.
It was
for like 2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay, but that I'm just saying, like, despite the controversy, all of the data, the statistics, and everything that they have behind this game, I think you have to put it in there. But I could see the committee being like, hey, we don't want to be the ones to make that decision. So how about y'all vote? How about y'all vote and y'all let us
handle
know.
That.
But I could definitely see that.
I wouldn't even be mad at it.
At all.
I was gonna say, and also with Elon Musk doing the whole free speech thing, there's been a whole lot of like, negativity, toxicity, racism that newly came to Twitter. Even though they was kind of always on Twitter, there was like a whole like wave of it on Twitter. And it's like, okay, if I go over here